It really is so exciting that the Liberty were finally able to win their first championship after being at the finals 5 times prior. Their first championship as an original team. Like, they were one of the original teams in the WNBA. So it took them a while, but they did it. And a big part of it was Jonquel Jones, who averaged 17.8 points, 7.6 rebounds while shooting at 56% from the field throughout the finals. And she said in her acceptance speech, "Y'all know my story. Y'all know how many times I've been denied it, but it was delayed. That's all it was." And I really think when it comes to JJ, knowing her story is so important. So without further ado, here's a clip of the My Story that Nesson did on her back in 2022 when she was still with the Connecticut Sun.
How do you react when you're told you can't succeed? Do you buy into the doubt, or does it fuel your fire?
I've always been in a position where I'm overlooked. First, it was coming from the Bahamas, being this kid that was from the Bahamas playing JV, and it was somebody telling me, oh, if I was you, I would go back home. And in my head, it's like, no, I'm not going back home and get better, and then I'm gonna get on the court and play, and then I'm gonna show you.
Sunshine, palm trees, white sandy beaches, and crystal clear water. For many, it's paradise. But just a few miles away from Freeport, Grand Bahamas, the future MVP of the WNBA is dreaming of becoming a star. What was it like to grow up in the Bahamas?
You know, we could run around all day, ride bicycles all day. Just a lot of freedom. It was a lot of the community kind of raising us and just everybody being connected.
14 miles west of Freeport is where Jonquel grew up, 8 Mile Rock, one of the oldest communities in the Grand Bahamas. The 8 miles of rocky shoreline consist of 11 sub-settlements, 2 of them home to Jonquel and Indiana Pacer Buddy Hield.
And that's where most of the people live on the island because they can't afford things. Everything is cheap. Everything is like, corner store type vibe. Like, a lot of people call it poor. I call it a way of life.
You know, you always had an eye on you and always, always an adult around, but still that freedom to just be a kid and just enjoy everything that the Bahamas has to offer.
With just over 1,000 residents on 8 Mile Rock, youth sports brought 2 future stars together.
Growing up, I played every sport in school.
We went to the same elementary school in the Bahamas, and we ran track together, and we just known as like great track athletes. She just gifted all around.
Was always the kid getting out of school early to go play something or run track and field.
She's one of those kids like always laughing, good charisma, good attitude around her. She's always positive. She's a fun personality.
I've just always had that love for sports and especially team sports.
One of those team sports that resonated with Jonquel was basketball, the game that would change her life forever. Who was the first person to influence you and really teach you how to play?
It was my dad. My dad was a high school basketball coach at the time, so I remember like going with him to watch him coach the basketball team and like telling them to like keep their hands up on defense and boxing out. He used to play like the YMCA night league games, and like I remember going up in the stands and like standing up watching him play and just like my eyes following him up and down the court because I just wanted to watch him play, and I was a little kid just. Everything was new and exciting to me. So my love for basketball definitely comes from him.
What was playing organized basketball in the Bahamas like?
I know for me, like we would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning before school just so we could get into the gym, and like us having gym time is like, it was amazing. Like, oh my gosh, we actually get to go in the gym. We had a lot of coaches and people that were invested in, in our growth, but just not as many resources as like US athletes would have.
On the island, we were really good, but every time American team comes down, they're more disciplined, they're more skilled.
It was probably 5th or 6th grade. We always did this thing where like this team from Florida would come to us and play one year. They tore us up. Like it was a crazy blowout. So it's like, I'm playing this every day. It's like, how are they so much better than me? I remember just after we lost that game, like just working the whole year and just thinking like, the next time they come back, I'm gonna be better. And the next time they came back, I was better, but they still blew us out. But I just remember saying to myself, like, I gotta get over there because it's something different that's going on over there. And I want a piece of that, like I want a part of that.
Jonquel will get that opportunity thanks to a high school coach in Maryland. Enter Diane Richardson.
I was coaching high school basketball in Maryland, and there was a player there from the Bahamas. She called me up and said, "Coach, there's a kid in the Bahamas that I think would benefit from what you do here." And I called, talked to her mom, and talked to JJ, and her mom said that she really wanted to come to the States to play basketball. So I told them, what the tuition was at our school. It was just too much. They said they couldn't afford to pay.
So I begged my mommy for years, like, "Mommy, please, like, just let me go to the States. Let me go to the States to play basketball. Like, they're so much better." And like, for years she was just like, "No, like, you're not ready for that. I'm not letting you out of my sight yet. Like, you're my baby."
And I'd check on her in a couple months, and then about 6 months later, she was 13 at the time, I went to my husband and I said, "This is such a great kid. She's such a nice kid. God is just kind of telling me, can we sponsor her?" And he said, yes. So her parents came over, mom and dad and JJ came over, and they were to spend a week with my family. After the week, her parents said that they decided that this would be a good place, and my family was a great environment for JJ.
Finally, 8th grade year came around, and I had the opportunity, and we talked about it. And obviously, I was begging her for years, so she knew that I wanted to go.
They decided to sign the paperwork for us to become her legal guardians and raise her here in the United States.
I call her my second mommy, like my second mom. I'm happy that she was able to be placed into my life by God, because I feel like it's nothing but divine intervention.
What a special story. I mean, obviously that's just a part of it. If you want to watch the whole thing, go to the Nesson 360 app. It'll have the whole My Story there. The entire thing is about 23 minutes. We just were only able to watch a little clip there, but truly, like, you think about all of the things that had to come together for her even to come to the United States. First of all, her high school basketball coach had to show that kind of investment in her, and then her parents had to be willing to send their daughter from the Bahamas to the U.S. without them. And JJ had to be willing to do it and go alone. So she moved when she was only 14 years old. Like, truly an amazing story. And I think it's nice to see something like that come full circle for somebody and get to see them win a WNBA championship and play so well, and not only get to play in it, but also have their story recognized. Because I think something that's been disappointing in the past is that these women do have really good stories, but there just hasn't been a media investment involved that's allowed for them to be shared. So truly just amazing.
Yeah, and I just wish I was there with her in that moment when they won, for her to be like, man, I remember when I watched my dad play at the YMCA, right? And now I am here in this environment with people with light up bracelets, right? Like in the crowd, in the atmosphere that was there. It is so cool, and what an awesome story.
I know they were talking about doing a parade in the Bahamas, so that would be awesome to watch. I hope there's a lot of social media footage or something coming out of that if it happens, because yeah, that would be really cool. And I know obviously it would mean so much to JJ.